everyone, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Agustini Pujayanti from English Education Department in class A1 Denpasar in the third semester. So today I'm going to review an article from one of my best lecturers, Mr. Wijaya, which discusses about incorporating local culture in English teaching material for undergraduate students. So before we start, here I saw the order of the agenda that will be discussed today, such as the background of the research, methodology, discussion, and last but not least, conclusion from this research. So we move to the first one, the research background. Teaching material is an integral part of teaching and learning process. It plays an important role in improving students' performance and motivation. A good material must match with student needs, so we facilitate students, provide enjoyment, and enough room for students' development. A good material should be able to capture student needs and both present and future needs. So the teaching material should also take into account students' culture and background. When teaching English in the context of English as a foreign language, then both the English language culture and the students' own culture must be taken into account. So local culture can be a great help in teaching English for non-native English speaker students. Next, methodology. So in this research, use research and development method using a simplified version of the AD development model by Dick and Carey. The object of the study was to develop English teaching material for the students of the Hinduism Education Department of IHD Denpasar, and the subject of the study were the 82 students of the first semester from Hinduism Education Department A1 and AB at the Denpasar campus. So the data were obtained from the students through questionnaire, observation, and interview. In developing the material, there were 4 phases of development. The first is the blueprint phase, the second is the draft writing phase, and the third is the draft testing phase, and the fourth is the final production phase. Next discussion. So in blueprint phase, the researcher found the research problems in the existing material that have 3 weaknesses. The first weakness was the topics of the materials, which was considered to be too foreign by the student. There were 5 reading texts and the content of the text were considered to be too advanced for the student's level. And the second weakness was the level of difficulty. 88% of the students considered the existing material to be very difficult. It was found that the reading texts were too long, used advanced level of diction, and used numerous vocabulary from foreign language, notably Sanskrit. The third weakness was caused by the layout and presentation of the material. The student considered the material as boring, since the material relied heavily on structural exercises and little else. Furthermore, the material was printed in black and white with very little pictures. So, to overcome these problems, the researcher developed the materials based on the students' criticism and needs in findings. The improvements start with the reading text. In order to provide students with culturally familiar reading text, which will reduce the sense of foreignness, the researcher decided to use simple reading text taken from various sources. The source of the text were newspaper, articles, or official briefs from the Indonesia Hindu Dharma Parisad, or PHDI. Internet articles provided by travel agents as well as material from Hinduism textbooks. So to overcome these problems, the researcher developed the materials based on the student criticism and needs. So in findings, that 3 findings. The first is the improvement started with the reading text. In order to provide students with culturally familiar reading text, which will reduce the sense of foreignness. The researcher decided to use simple reading text taken from various sources. The source of the text were newspaper, articles, or official briefs from the Indonesian Hindu Dharma Parisada or PHDI, internet articles provided by travel agents, as well as material from Hinduism textbooks. So the examples of the texts were the gods of Balinese Hinduism, Balinese offerings, Besaki Temple, traditional tooth filling ceremony in Bali, the sacred Mount Agung, Balinese marriage, Galungan dan Kuningan, and Nyepi. And the second one is to ensure that reading text in the new material were appropriate to students' level of English mastery. The reading text selected were modified in terms of difficulty. The modification was the modification was not done but simply by shortening sentences or omitting difficult words, for such action does not always reduce the difficulty level of the text. Instead, the text used were selected based on student interest, needs, and prayer. The difficulty level of the text was further reduced by using redundancy of ideas by providing extra textual support form of pictures. Or another step taken was deleting unnecessary information from the reading text. And the third one is appealing colors and pictures in the material is important because it's able to arouse students' interest and curiosity. The pictures and colors will reduce students' boredom and also act as a sort of landmark, which help the students navigating the material. The students can use a certain picture to mentally bookmark certain part of the material, such as the last part that they read or work on. The, the existing materials was the monotone repetition of very limited types of activities in the material. So to overcome this weakness, the new material was developed with numerous activities. Besides reading text, the new material incorporated relevant pictures and colorful presentation. Structural points, speaking activities, listening activities, writing text, and language games. The listening section were added and designed with sample activities to help students learn independently and home. For the writing activities, the students were provided with a number of writing exercises, ranging from retelling a story to writing a complete story based on a series of pictures. After a long process, the researcher asked the students to review the new course book while studying with them. And also the students asked to fill questionnaire and about the material. So here's the result of the data from the questionnaire with the triangulated through observation and interview. The majority of the students prefer the new material rather than the existing material. You can see on the screen, so the result highlight two important things. The first is that the student's need must be the most vital factor in developing material, because material that directly correspondent with said needs will automatically be useful and meaningful for the students. And the second is that the student preferred the new material over that existing material due to the culturally familiar materials. The familiar material in line with the student's prior knowledge that's helping the student in the understanding the new material. So, here in the conclusion of the research, based on the results of this study, including local culture material, help students learn English, where students will feel familiar with the topics and materials provided. In addition, the researcher concluded that the material must be adjusted to the student's level, and using colorful material layouts and pictures will increase student interest and learning doesn't feel monotonous and boring. So that's all the explanation of the article review from one of my lecturers. Thank you for watching and see you next time.